Welcome to Violin Adventures number 203. We're back in the saddle, working on our 1800s violin, working on the new violin, and a few extras. Hope you enjoy. We're back in the shop and working on our 1800s violin. The edging was a little thick, so I took it down, and now I'm just going to get a sealer coat on it. There's some buzzing in the top, so that means we've got some cracks that are open. So I'm going to work on finding that. And also in our back here, we've got to put in a new upper block. Just got an upper block ready to be put in here, all fitted and nice. And now, since I haven't been in the shop for over a week, there's something I have to make, and it is a new batch of, type it in the comments below. Here we are. Let's move up to the top shelf and let's zoom in. There it is. All right, I got me a cute little bottle. There's a strong buzz. I just found it now. These cleats that were put in correct, I've got to take them off because the crack under the cleats is open. So that's what was buzzing. So when our glue gets ready, we'll glue this shut too. Okay, our hot hide glue is ready. It's nice and sticky, and we're going to go ahead and close up the crack on this violin, which is open right here on the outside. Dry, and now we're going to glue in a new upper block. Okay, while the glue is warming up, I was cutting out a bass bar, one that we can fit real nicely. It's got really good tone. So I'll work on fitting that. But before I can do that, we need to cleat all the cracks in this top. And you can see there's a lot of old cracks where we took off the cleats, and we got to put new cleats on there and make sure that the cracks are closed. And it's amazing how your violin will buzz if there's just a tiny little crack that isn't sealed. So I'm going to seal that first. We'll pump glue into this crack. This is another advantage of hot hide glue, is that you can really pump it into the cracks and the wood receives it so nicely. Okay, our cleats are in for today. Tomorrow we'll work on a bass bar. Here's the first coat of oil varnish on the cello. If you look up close, you can see the beautiful flame coming out. And there, isn't that beautiful? And then here's the scroll. And if I get the right angle, you can see the Der Spiegel in the mirror effect in the wood. Very nice note. So here we have a very sad story. Poor violin has some edges that got broken off. So we're going to work on fixing this violin, and the exciting challenge will be to make it look as good as possible. Time for a story. All right, it's time for some more stories of violinists and violins, and this is written by Franz Farga, and we're on page 57. There had always been great musical activity in Venice. It was the city of song, of improvised musical comedy, and of orchestral music. Giovanni Gabrieli, too, father of the orchestra, lived in Venice, where the best Italian singers and instrumentalists and the most fertile dramatists were to be found. First-class wind instruments, lutes, and guitars were also made in Venice. Small wonder, therefore, that the art of violin making began to flourish in that town almost overnight. The above-mentioned excellent violin maker Domenico Montagnana made a great reputation for himself in Venice. But today, Santos Serafin, from 1678 to 1730, is placed even higher. He is said to have learned his craft from a Tyrolean master. Later, however, he worked from Niccolo Amati's design. He may have spent some time in Cremona. In 1710, he settled down in Venice, soon achieving great fame on account of the enormous care which he lavished on his work, and which is said to have surpassed even that of Stradivari. His violins are made of the most beautiful wood. The back shows an intricate pattern of figure. The varnish, with its reddish-yellow color, is of great beauty, and the tone wonderfully pure and noble. Prices paid for these instruments are very high today, justly so, as they meet all the requirements of a concert violin. Beside these Italian masters, David Tekler of Salzburg deserves to be mentioned. He worked for a time in Venice, but seems to have suffered a great deal from the enmity of native violin makers. They regarded him as an irksome competitor, probably because he was extremely gifted and made excellent violins after the Steiner design. In 1705, he moved to Rome, abandoned the Steiner model, and created his own, which all but achieved the standard of the Cremonese school. Many of his violins are splendid pieces of work and are made of the very best wood. Their peculiarities are an elongation of the wide, somewhat slanting corners and the wide opening of the F-holes. His scrolls, too, are of a characteristic design. Many of his instruments are still extant. Their tone is very powerful. In Rome, too, lived Tekler's compatriot Michael Platner, who built efficient instruments after the Steiner pattern. When he died in 1735, the Rome school of violin making began to decline, and another craft commenced to flourish in its place, string making. For a long time, Roman strings were considered the best in the world, and their reputation is still very high. Finally, we have to mention Naples. Its school originated from Alessandro Galliano, who had studied music in his youth, taking up violin making as a side. Fate, however, interfered with his plans for the future. He killed a Neapolitan nobleman in a duel and had to flee from his native town and made his way on foot to Cremona. Some reports suggest that he stayed with Stradivari for 30 years, but this is not correct. More recent Italian sources indicate that he returned to Naples 5 years later and founded a numerous family there. He had many sons who, in their turn, also produced a great number of offspring, so that people used to say, "There are as many Gallianos in Naples as grains of sand on the beach." His violins are brilliant pieces of workmanship, and their tone is excellent. Their varnish, of a wonderfully deep red, which was the master's secret, is different from that of the Cremonese instruments. Only much later did it become known that he achieved the shimmering, clear surface of his second layer of varnish by using a spirit extract of the dye woods. The design of Galliano's violins is reminiscent of Carlo Bergonzi's, and there is a possibility that a good many Gallianos are today mistaken for and accepted as Bergonzi's. Two of Galliano's sons, Niccolo and Gennaro, worked from one of the smaller Stradivari designs using a rather dark varnish. In the 19th century, the Gallianos gave up violin making and concentrated on string making. They were keen competitors of the Roman string makers and accumulated great wealth. And that's where we're going to stop today, and we'll take up next time. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi, I, Freddie. That's me. And this week I got a picture from my friend, Mr. Thomas Pinch. He sent us a picture of his very tall sunflower plant. It goes way up in the sky, about 8 or 10 feet tall. Wow! Well, thank you for sending in your picture, Mr. Pinch. And now, don't forget, send me the projects you're working on. And I'll see you next time. Bye!
The Hebrew Minute. Enu la Hashem betodah. Zamru la Eloheinu b'kinor. So this says answer, or it's also translated sing. Answer the Lord with thanks. Todah is the word for thank you. Sing or make music to our God with the kinor. And this is translated harp, but in modern Hebrew, it's the violin, kinor. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. Here we are, Friday afternoon. Look at how bright, sunny day. And if you look at the maple trees, let's zoom in. The tops are starting to turn red. Fall is around the corner. Here in the shop, we've got the professor's cello looking quite beautiful. This is the first coat of oil varnish. We're waiting for it to dry. Here is our next repair, working on those edges that got broken off. This is the beginning of an Appalachian mountain. We have our new violin, and you can see the rise of our mountain right here. We'll see how high we can get it. And here's our 1800's violin. We've got the bass bar in, and now we just have to shape it. And then we can close it up and set the neck. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for all your continued wonderful comments in the comment section. Thank you for the thumbs up, and thank you for your wonderful well wishes, and I'm feeling so much better now. Thank you to the new subscribers, and until next time, bye!